Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy MC back with another video. Finally I thought I'd finally get around to finishing part 3 of this video because I obviously hadn't finished it in October, unfortunately, so I'm a bit behind schedule. I often make a joke about being dyslexic, so I say I need extra time because here in the UK, for those who might not know, dyslexic students can sometimes get extra time in exams and stuff like that. So I say I need extra time and all that kind of thing. So anywho, I know it's like a little bit later, quite a bit later than planned, but I didn't do it yesterday because it was Halloween, so I didn't want to jinx it because I see Halloween as a bit unlucky, perhaps. But anyway, I'll try and stop waffling and get on with my list. So I hope you enjoy it. People out there will enjoy it, and please like and share the video if you can. It would be really great if you support the channel and support the video and help me to help others as well. So yeah, so here goes. So as I say, as the title suggests, reasons to support Africa and people across Africa. As I'm continuing on from parts 1 and 2, so please check them out if you haven't already checked them out. So here goes. Yeah. So number 21, I think because of the historical oppression that people from Africa have faced with things like slavery or colonialism, imperialism, colonialism, empire and supremacy and things like that, and the way that they have been brought down and mocked or treated so badly, that makes me really want to support them because of the fact that they were oppressed, and especially like women in Africa, because I think sometimes they were oppressed by the Europeans, but also by their own people, perhaps, if I'm not mistaken. And I think also it'd be a potential reason for a lot of people to support Africa, but it could be an interesting project to work on, like to find out about African history and things like that. Number 22, hopefully to see Africa having a brighter future, and for the worldwide or global Black diaspora, I think it's a good thing to support Africa, especially for them because it's where their ancestry is from. I probably could have included that in point 21, but anyway, as that happens, yeah, so where their ancestry is from, and I think especially countries like South Africa, which went through a lot of oppression, I think people of colour and mixed race people like myself should support South Africa, in my opinion, because of apartheid and the way the Europeans treated Black and mixed race and even Asian people. So yeah, I think it would be great to support countries like South Africa specifically, as well as the rest of Africa. 23, there's a lot of problems facing Africa and poverty and things like that. So I think if you want to tackle a lot of those problems and issues like with poverty and all that, it could be an interesting project to support African areas like STEM. And in the future, I hope to talk about how I think people could support Africa, as well as the reason why I think they should support Africa. Hopefully when I get around to it, maybe next week, all being well. Number 24, again, they had loss of their land. I think if you look at things like Brexit or even in America or across Europe, or probably even especially in America, you'll see that people don't want to have like so many people coming into their country just as they like, which is fair enough. But I think that's a bit hypocritical when they had an empire, because I'm sure an empire didn't ask for permission when it went into other countries. I know that's part of history, but even now, like things like Iraq, things like that, and there are still like bases in Africa as well where like people told me in Kenya and places like that, there are certain areas where people aren't supposed to, where the local Kenyans don't feel comfortable, like where the British military or people like that are, because they're treated bad even in their own country. So I think that's not quite right. But yeah, so like people talk about Brexit and keeping like Britain keeping its sovereignty and control over its borders, and I think that's probably a bit hypocritical because of what they did to African countries. So I think that's a good reason to support Africa, as well as like indigenous people from Australasia and things like that, as well as other countries that were colonized as well, and other groups that were colonized and oppressed. Number 25, I've often said that I'm a pro-republic supporter, so I support republics, and because almost every country in Africa, if not every country in Africa, pretty much are republics. I suppose they do have their own sort of kingdoms and that in some areas, but I think officially each country in Africa, pretty much other than probably one, is a republic. So I think, especially like supporting the republics in Africa, and maybe in the future I'd love to see them hosting summits and conferences and events to invite other people from different republics into Africa. But yeah, so I'd love to see Africa being supported and empowered because I prefer republics. So that's another reason for me personally to support Africa. Number 26, again, like all the liberty and freedoms and rights that they lost when under imperialism and colonialism, empire supremacy, and things like that. I think it would be justice, dare I say. I know people might call me a social justice warrior. I'm not really a warrior, so you can probably call me a social justice worker or social justice supporter. But yes, but I think justice is a good thing. Obviously, if you were wronged, you'd probably want justice yourself. So I think when people use that term SJW, if something happened to you or your family, I'm sure you'd want justice as well. Number 27, hopefully Africa in the future will have a list of the people who support them the most. So that should be a good reason in the future, like for people to support Africa, because then they can be honoured. And hopefully, I think if Africans are united and support each other as well, and the black diaspora around the world supports the global black diaspora supports people across Africa, then that will hopefully encourage companies to go and invest in Africa, like especially big tech companies, and train local African people and things like that. So hopefully in the future they'll be good in STEM, science, tech, engineering, and maths and things like that, especially technology. Number 28, again, I think it would right a lot of the wrongs in the past which happened to Africa as a continent, to pretty much all the countries, or all the countries really, in Africa, where people treat the Africans really bad. And I know, like, I'm a big fan of Italian football, but I still think, like, Italy was a bit out of order how they took over Ethiopia and things like that, or tried to take over Ethiopia, and even countries like Tunisia and places like that as well. Number 29, I'd love to hear any other reasons why you would have what you would have for supporting Africa, but I definitely think mixed race people and people of color generally, especially the black diaspora, but even Asians and possibly even Native Americans, they're the people that class as POC, people of color. I definitely think we should support, I'll say, black, Asian, mixed race, and Native American people. I definitely think should support South Africa and places like that. And like when people boycotted South Africa because of apartheid, I think now is the time to actually kind of do the opposite and support South Africa to make up for the things that like black people couldn't run their own businesses in their own country or things like that. So I definitely think countries like South Africa, it would be good to support them. And number 30, again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think. For me, as I say, as a person of colour, I think that the fact that the white supremacists, neo-Nazis, far-right, whatever you want to call them, I use those terms interchangeably. The people who basically hate people of colour hate us all. So that's why I think people of colour like myself, POC, including, as I say, black, Asian, mixed race, and Native American people, should support Africa and Indigenous Australians as well. Anyway, I'm out. Peace and love.